I was that guy who was destined for a tech career and just totally bombed out. 17 years just running restaurants because I didn't do what I was supposed to do in college. Got to a point where I couldn't go anymore in the restaurant business. I literally said the phrase to my wife, I think I'm gonna die first, but no, I can't do this anymore.
For 17 years, you were at a restaurant. Some people never leave.
That's true.
17 years, that's your life.
True. You don't have that that grit. Don't come into this tech game. It is so much more than the cute podcast. This is about pure, raw, hardcore grit, like equivalent to being a football player or a UFC fighter. You have to get in it. That's not even in the question. I don't have a give up bone in my body.
I always say that coding bootcamp brought out the dog in me that I never knew was there. If you tell me that you're like, yo, I'm giving you a year to learn how to fly, I'm flying.
It's done.
It's done. I'm learning how to fly.
You just have to start. Even if you don't feel like that's who you are, I'm telling you, you can change yourself into anyone you want to be.
And we are live with my brother, Lawrence. What's up, bro?
Hey, man, you're up. I'm on the podcast. How's it taking so long? I don't know. Thought we liked each other. Now it's been... Anyway, glad to be here right now, my guy. Same
here, man. I am excited. I'm super nervous. I don't know if you can tell now, but real life, I'm literally nervous. Why? Because I've been following your journey, man. Like before I started my journey. I've been following your journey before the page Annor Code was created. I was following you on my personal page. And I remember, man, I saw your page. I was like, I think you started learning code. Were you 40 then?
46.
40,
yeah.
46, man. And I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. He's a brother. You're a Christian, married with kids. Same here. I got to follow you. And man, I remember always stalking your page, always looking what you're doing. I would never comment. I'll just here and there because I was so scared and so shy, man. Right?
Yeah.
And I remember I don't know if you remember this or not. I remember one time, man, I DM'd you and I was like, hey, man, I've been following you for a long time now. This was back in 2020. And I was like, hey, I don't know why I have not, commented or reached out to you. Yeah. But honestly, I've just been nervous, man. But today's the day, and you were like, today's the day. And we liked it. You liked the message. I liked the message. And I was like, whew, okay. First step is over. I've connected with you, And man, since then, you've inspired me. You've been a mentor to me without you even knowing. And I told my wife, I was like, hey, I have to have you on the podcast. Brother, to have you on here now, I'm like, yeah, sweaty palms, but we're going to do it. I'm excited.
Man, you're killing it. You're doing so much better than I've ever done. Listen, I remember back in my FedEx days, which would have been around 2020 or so, FedEx hosted a Google Cloud Day. It was a GCP day, right? Which basically means a lot of these top Google Cloud executives flew out from California to Memphis, Tennessee. They took over a whole half of our main corporate center at the technology center. And it was just Google Cloud Day. They had little booths set up. They had speakers. The vice president was here. And I found out that Kelsey Hightower was coming. I was like, oh, Kelsey's coming to Memphis to FedEx.
Kelsey.
And I had only seen him on YouTube and, podcasts and things like that.
Yeah, same.
Admired him from afar. My man is coming. He's coming to FedEx. I was hyped. And so we had a really big session and he spoke, but then, and I just spilled all my water on the floor, but then we had a smaller, more intimate session with Q&A. I was like, I'm going to get to ask him a question. It's going down. And we got to the end of his talk and they passed the mic around. And I promise you, my 40 whatever something self started stuttering and mumbling that I asked some dumb question. It was the worst. And this is the first he'd ever seen or heard from me. And there's not a whole lot of us in there anyway.
Yeah.
He's on the stage and I'm in the audience and all's going through me is just pure raw joy that he's here. And it came out thanks for, bruh. If I could have turned red, I would have turned red.
You would turn red. Hey, did you turn purple? I know us color people, we could turn purple.
No, it felt like fire.
Yeah.
Pressure. And everybody's looking. And I'm like, what is he thinking? And fortunately, I was able to meet him again in a more calm circumstance at the Render ATL conference and showed him a lot of love last year and then again on this year when he came with his wife and they hung out on the rooftop there in Atlanta, the big rooftop they always do. We were able to speak at length and I was much more chill. But the first time
Yeah,
meeting,
yeah,
oh man, I was a wreck. He
yeah,
had to be
man.
like, who is this guy? How did he even get hired? Developed what? Like developer? What do you develop? Develop
Develop what?
English. Develop some English first. English proficiency. TOEFL,
I'm
heard of it?
crying. I'm
Man,
crying,
it was
yo.
horrible.
No, but I think that like, man, like honestly, we get like that because we're so passionate and we really want
Yeah.
this thing, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
like, if I wasn't nervous now, and honestly, I'm nervous for, like all my podcasts. You know what I mean? I'm a musician. I play drums in my church. I'm nervous every time I jump on stage.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and my thing is like, nerves is a part of the journey, right? It proves that I actually want this thing. I really care about it.
Yes.
And it's like I have to now find a way to navigate the nerves, right? So it doesn't get the best of me, right? But I'm learning now. It's like, hey, if I'm nervous, it's kind of a good thing. I care.
There you go. You
You
know
know
what?
I mean?
You're reading my mind, or maybe even in my tweets. It was earlier this year. I either tweeted it or I put it on a LinkedIn that what I've been calling nerves for so long is my body's response to understanding how interested and important an event is. And I call it nerves. I call it anxiety. I call it I'm not going to do well, but my body is getting me ready, kind of in a flight or fight kind of mechanism, but it's activating neurons. It's getting the heart rate up. It's getting me ready to perform because I'm
Yeah.
interested and it's important. So that's actually a good thing. Even if the heart is fluttering, it would be better than that. And I come across excited and I come across energetic to my audience than flatlining. So I am reinterpreting those feelings that they're not nerves. Same way I talked about yesterday on Twitter, like some of y'all don't have imposter syndrome. You've just been conditioned to think that humbling yourself in public is humble. It is really not.
Yep.
So in a similar manner, I take those feelings to mean that my body knows and my neurology knows that whatever's about to happen is very important and it means a lot to me. And so it's getting me ready. It's getting me ready to act, to behave, to perform, like you said, on stage in front of a meetup or a conference or even on this, right? And I want to have that energy because if I don't, it's going to probably flatline. They're going to be like boring and they'll be watching me and scrolling on their phone and weird stuff like that. We don't want that.
Yeah. Man, I'm literally excited that you're here, bro. Like, I'm grateful. Thank you for taking out time to jump on because people are busy. You know, you have a family. You have a job. You have so much going on, and for you to come on the podcast, man. No. I've seen you moving. You're here one day, and you're gone the next. You know, and so, man, thank you so much. I just want to have a conversation with you, man. I have notes here, but I feel like I'm not even gonna look at the notes. I'm just gonna.
We're gonna just kick it if that's cool.
Go for it, man. Yeah, that's cool with me, man. You know, and I just want to just really dissect your journey, bro. I know that when I first started to learn how to code. There were so many people that I was looking up to, and I felt as if they had reached this pedestal or this Mount Rushmore of tech that I could never get to. And so I was looking at them like, oh, y'all are up here and I'm down here, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember that feeling like it was yesterday. I've been in tech for about 5 years now, a little bit more, but like about 5 years now. And I still remember that feeling, man. And my whole point of this podcast is to bring people on that I see that are doing a good job, that are killing in tech, that are not afraid to share like the raw, authentic, embarrassing wins, all that, just to inspire somebody else, right? Just to allow them to know that, hey, if they cut you, if they cut me, if they cut them, we're all gonna bleed blood. Like we're all literally human. At the baseline, we are human. And so I really want to just bring close the gap and just be like, hey, let's have a conversation. How did you start? Like, it wasn't always perfect, you know what I mean? And so I guess right now, man, I just want to say, like, you know, go ahead and give the people a quick spiel about like who you are. And then we'll just go from there, man, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll do this. And prayerfully, hopefully a lot of your audience has probably seen me do the full spiel on some other podcasts. So I try to bring out at least one new thing and not say the exact same spiel every time. But long story short, I was always destined to be in tech. People ask, you know, how did you get in tech? I always should have been in here. My favorite movies are sci-fi movies. I still remember going to see Star Wars 1 when it was released, or 4, whatever, when it was released with my dad, and just being like blown away by spaceships and rocket ships and robots, just blown away. This is like way before you were born, when the first Star Wars came out, right? And when Mark Hamill start, you know, Luke, and he's just looking young, and just being oriented like that. In my Christmas gifts, I wanted like, little electronic sets or chemistry sets or the little robot. There was a robot arm called the Armatron. It was like a blue and orange robot. You could move the little hands and the robot arm would move and it would pick up things really, really slowly. Like you could pick up a peg and pick it up and move it over here and drop it down. And it had almost 360-degree of motion. And I was fascinated with that robot doing something that I could have done 10 times faster. It didn't matter. I was enamored because I knew there was motors and circuits and things in there, and they were doing things that I didn't fully understand. And one of the first books that I was purchased was like this red electronics book, a very, very old electronics book, and learning about a transistor versus a circuit versus a capacitor versus this versus that. So that was at a young, young age. Then we got to the gifted program. And my gifted program, again, this is decades ago. We got the first computer outside of the office in the entire school. We got a TRS-80, it's Tandy Radio Shack. So back when Radio Shack was a thing. It was kind of the Radio Shack equivalent of the Commodore 64. And that was a wrap. Learning how to just program a little bit of BASIC, which was BASIC was made for that, BASIC made for the TRS-80, and like how to program colors and sounds and how to make little loops and make things happen again. I was enamored. So I was that guy who was destined for a tech career. I had written it out. I had plans. I was early admission to a great university and just totally bombed out for a variety of reasons. Bombed out. Bombed out so bad I went into a depression, Annor, that lasted for at least 4.5 years to 5 years. I know that because that's how long I stumbled through other colleges, also not matriculating. So much to the point my dad eventually said, all right, this ain't working. But you're a grown man now and you need to make some money. And that's how I stumbled into the restaurant business. Because when you don't have marketable skills in a professional sense, you typically end up in restaurants, warehouses, or retail. I ended up in restaurants and off and on did it for 17 years. There was a brief stint of 5 years of supply chain management, which was pretty cool, by the way. I learned a lot working for Nissan in the Nissan facility, but 17 years just running restaurants because I didn't do what I was supposed to do in college. Couldn't get my brain to quite operate right. I didn't really have great study habits in high school. I never needed them. I would just walk in, absorb, kill the test, which is all you have to do for me. But that doesn't work in college. And it definitely doesn't work in very good colleges. It just doesn't. And so identity, right? And I'll probably come back to this theme. Identity has a lot to do with what you're able to get yourself to do. The way you identify yourself is closely connected to what you are able to get yourself to do. In other words, you can want to do something, but if you don't identify as the type of person that does that, you'll never do it. The brain drives the behavior. And my brain identity at that time switched from being this big fish in a little pond, and I can do anything and this, that, and another, to I am incapable. And I'm a small fry, and I'm not like these people. And once that set in, oh, that was a wrap. Like, man, I could have gone back to high school. I would have, because my identity was all jacked up. And that lasted a very long time until I fast forward the picture till 44-ish years old. I got to a point where I couldn't go anymore in the restaurant business. I literally said the phrase to my wife, I think I'm going to die first. And she was like, no, I can't do this anymore, because restaurant management as a general manager, you're never off. You're already working long hours, and then you're never off, because when you are off, all it takes is one phone call and you have to run to the store or figure something out. You got to turn on your restaurant brain. And when they don't call, you're worried about when they are going to call, even if you're on vacation. So you're always on. When you're the GM, you're always on. And it was wearing me down day by day. And so went to a career counselor at a certain point and took a bunch of tests. Turned out I actually still have scientific or technical aptitude, which surprised the heck out of me. I'm like, me? I'm flipping burgers for a living, but okay. And they had a list of jobs, and one of them was web developer. And I started teaching myself online, man. And I'm skipping through this part fast because, again, I've told the story so many times. But eventually got just good enough to be able to make a basic website. I think I had one that was full stack, one that took in an API, and the one was like just a landing page. So I had my little rudimentary portfolio. And I'm applying for tons of jobs. Nothing's really happening until I joined a local community. And this is where I have to do a name drop, because the community called Code Connector. We kind of have a base here in Memphis, but we have people from all over the world. That was the place. And many people like Joe Ferguson, Ted Patterson, George Spake, and a few others, James Quick, they were hugely instrumental in getting me from random dude who's making websites in his loft to a marketable candidate. And it turns out the Slack channel for, or the Slack server for that Code Connector organization actually had a job listing that I applied for, went for it, and got the first job. And so now I went from flipping burgers to my first web developer job. It was called web content something something. It was in a it was in a marketing department, which is funny because I've gone full circle. That was my first job 8-ish years ago, 7, 8 years ago. It was in marketing. Then I went to be a full stack dev, but now as a dev role, I'm actually back in marketing. So this is really interesting full circle how it went. But that landed that first job, man. And as soon as I got it, I'm not exactly sure where this came from, maybe how I was reared, I don't know. But I said, if I can do this, there's a whole lot of other people who can do this too. But they don't know it, or they don't believe it, or they haven't seen the example. And then I found out the numbers when it comes to, for instance, African Americans employed in engineering roles in big tech. It was at or around the 3% mark. And 7, 8 years later, it's still at or around the 8% mark, the 3% mark when it comes to actual engineers. Now, when you add in admins, of course, it goes up. When it comes to actual technical producers, right, regardless of title, actual technical IC people, it's at or around 3%. And I said, it's not intelligence, it's something else. So I can't fix all the problems, but I can do what we learn in church is let my light shine, right? I'm not big on just proselytizing and beating people over the head with the Bible. I try to live a life that people will be interested in, like, what's different about this guy? And when they find out I'm a Christian, hopefully they'll go, oh, okay, now I get it now. So in a similar manner, not exactly the same, but in a similar manner, I try to just let kind of what's going on with my tech life, my tech journey, and show the good parts. Hey, I got a trip to here or Germany or Spain or whatever. I just booked a trip to Italy coming up pretty soon. And let that kind of be at least an encouragement, like, what the heck does he do? Like, it's on the up and up. Is he doing something weird? They find out, okay, he's a tech guy. All right, what does he do? He's a DevRel. How does he get there? He learned how to code. He learned to build websites, and he kept learning and networking and joining community. Then he was a full stack developer, and he really earned his chops for 4 straight years building full stack web applications, working with FedEx. Learned Java, good solid enterprise backend language. So he wasn't just a JavaScript guy. Got his chops up, kept building with community, kept talking in community, doing meetups, connecting with people, learning the value of just being a decent human to other folks, whether it's in person or online or on LinkedIn. Understanding the value in making more and more connections on LinkedIn. So if he does want to move somewhere, he has people he can ask questions like, can you give me a referral? Or at least tell me about that team. Tell me about the company. How's things going? I've literally applied to places and come back and ask somebody how things going. They're like, don't come here. Don't come here. Right? Well, that's better than a referral. If you're telling me stuff is jacked up, y'all are about to be like bankrupt or something, then that's great information. But people don't share that randomly. They share that with people they know. So you want to be decent enough and honest and open enough and connect with enough people so you have more sources of information to actually retrieve information from and give information to. And so hopefully people can see that whole cycle and things of how I work, that there's something there of value. And you know what? I might not fit into some traditional mold that I thought a tech person is, but neither does he, because he lives in Mississippi and he's older and he's black and he's doing it in tech. Why not me? And so that's what I want to encourage, hopefully through my example, man. And that's who I am. That's why I'm on TikTok and most of my social media is to get another person to think, why not me? Like, if he can, why not me?
Man, one thing that like has inspired me about your journey is like your age. First of all, you look darn good for what, 46, 47?
No, I'm 53, brother. I started my first job at 46. I'm 53. I just turned 53 in August. This is my birthday month. So praise the Lord. Good genes.
First of all, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Kings and queens are born in August. What day in August?
Can't tell you all that, man. They'll be looking at my social next.
You know what?
Leo August. I'm Leo August.
Okay. I don't know all the signs, but I'm August as well. My wife is August, and my wife and I, our anniversary is August. So kings and queens are born in August.
My anniversary is in August as well, yeah.
Woo, there we go. But listen,
best
man, like
birthday month ever.
Best birthday month ever. And I think one of the things that has encouraged me is like when I was trying to learn how to code, like everything was so hard. Like I couldn't wrap my head around computing, literally. Like how does this, like thinking as a programmer, problem solving, right? Being patient with myself, right? And I saw you learning, I saw you throwing out gems. I'm like, man, like they say that as you get older, like things, especially with tech, like it's harder to grasp. But I see
Yeah.
you literally like learning in public. I see you literally like giving out gems. I'm like, what am I doing in my life? You know, and like you've literally like
Wow.
to see you going from, like you said, flipping burgers, man, and you did that for a long time to transition
Yeah.
into tech. Like to me, it was like mind blowing. I
Yeah.
think you and Danny, I think Danny Thompson. If I'm sure y'all know who Danny Thompson is. If you don't know who Danny Thompson is, then you live in Pluto. But I think he was frying chicken, man. And it's like, man, like y'all are able to go from something that is like rock bottom, if I can say that, right?
Yeah.
And you just
Yep.
elevated yourself, you and your family, right? I do want to ask you this question though, man. Like,
Well,
how was
before
the
you get to that, I do have to shout
yeah,
out
go for
Danny.
it.
Before you get to that,
Go
I do
for
have to
it.
shout out Danny.
Go for it.
And I say this on every podcast because I like it to be very
Mm.
well known. So Danny and I came up at the same time in the same place. He used to live in Memphis.
Mm.
We went to the same boot camp. There was a boot camp that came to Memphis for one cohort. It's called Launch Code. And we were in that. We were both students at the same time in the same boot camp. We helped run and do meetups and things for the Code Connector organization at the same time together.
Wow.
And yeah, shortly after I finished working in the restaurant business and came into tech, he was wrapping up working in gas stations. He used to run, so I used to run individual restaurants. He used to run multiple gas stations, which means on some days he's getting the manage, some days he's frying chicken, some days he's at the cash register. I remember visiting one time and it was just him. I'm like, dude, I thought you ran the place. He's like, man, I do what I gotta do. And he got me a cup of coffee and he was sweeping the floor. I'm like, oh, this is a guy that'll get it. Now that's not a real technical term. You won't hear that phrase in college or boot camp. But and you didn't even ask me this question, but I have to put this out there. The similarity between Danny and me that's the most important, beyond both coming up in Memphis, and he's from other places, but we came up in Memphis, coming up in tech together, both taught by James Quick. I have to name drop him. The biggest thing is we're both people who will get it. And if you don't have that bone, that gene, that thing in you, that for whatever the thing is, you see it, you're like, I got to get it. I got to have that. If you don't have that, like that grit, don't come into this tech game because it is so much more than the cute podcasts or an Instagram from a foreign country. Oh, I'm doing tech and I had a conference. Man, that's the most minor part of this. This is about pure, raw, hardcore grit, like equivalent to being a football player or a UFC fighter. You have to get in it. And he's the kind of guy that even before he got his first tech job, I could see him just in the gas station, like he'll get it. Like he'll get down, he'll get dirty, whatever it is to get it done. If it's important to him, he'll get it done. And that's the same kind of person I was, because the same passion and zeal I have in tech, I was like this in the restaurant business. I wasn't general manager because I was horrible. I was general manager because I was good, and I'll get it. And I'll get the burgers out, the steaks out, whatever we're running, because I did fast food, fine dining, nightclub dining, like you name it, all of it. Higher education, like I opened the athletic dining facility at Ole Miss way back in the day. It's called the Grill at 1810. Look it up. So anyway, I recognized that in him, and I knew he's going to go far. And we have a little small circle of friends here in Memphis, and I said, one of you is going to go, at least one of you, maybe more, is going to go way further than I go, because you have that energy and drive, but you also have youth on your side. So I'm going to do well, but one of y'all, at least one of y'all is going to go way further, and he was the one. He was the one. Right now, director of technology for this labs. He's all over the place. The podcast with Leon is super, super popular. I'm proud of that guy and really proud to call him brother. He's somebody I will always, always know, respect, big up, and just love the fact that we came up together. When we were in boot camp and just trying to figure out how to do for loops versus switch statements, nobody knew our names. And that's really important. Like nobody knew us. Nobody knew Danny. He had he might have had like 400 followers on Twitter. And I knew him then and saw how he got it and saw him before any of y'all knew who he was. I saw him helping other students in the boot camp on the same things that he was learning, but he was learning them faster. The gas station guy was learning everything faster than a lot of other students, and so they were coming to him for help. So much so, it was putting pressure on him for his assignments because he was helping so many people. Literally at some points helping more students than the TAs were, the assigned paid teaching assistants, because that's just in him. He's going to help. He's going to get it. And so naturally he's a director of technology, and naturally he became a DevRel at Google for a period because those things are in him. there's certain traits that you need to have in you to be successful in certain type of disciplines. You want to be a technical person, you need to have that, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to figure it out. Because when you come across a problem at work as a developer, not every problem has an answer on Google or even ChatGPT, Gemini, or anything else. Some problems don't have like ready solutions that make sense. You have to think. That's a level of get it, just thinking deeply for an extended period of time and then trying something and understanding it might not work. But I use the results of that first iteration as data to form my second trial. And I use those results and I just keep iterating, right? Like Edison, I just keep doing it until I get the light bulb to freaking come on, but I'm not going to give up. That's not even in the question. I don't have a give up bone in my body, and neither does Danny. So you mentioned his name. I have to big him up. He always shows me love, and I have to show him love because I'm so proud of him, and I'm happy to have seen the rise. And I know he's not done. That's the trip part. I know he's he's not even close to done. So pay attention to Danny, y'all.
You got me goosebumps, bro. You literally got me goosebumps because like you've taken my mind to when I was in boot camp, right? I'll be honest with y'all. Like my life's journey, I always say that's a movie. I got married when I was young. I met my wife when I was 15. She was 17. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, wedding anniversary. We've been through highs and lows, man. So you can tell I got married when I was a puppy when I got married.
Yeah, you still young.
Right. I'm still young, you know, and man, I've done every job under the sun. And I've been lazy. I've been a procrastinator. I've been, man, like I until I entered boot camp, I didn't have that grit you just talked about. Yeah. I didn't have that like, yo, I'm gonna figure this thing out. I didn't have that like, yo, I don't care how long it's gonna take. I'm gonna be up at 3 a.m. My wife's here in the futon, like waiting for me to come to bed. I'm like, nah, I have to figure this thing out, right? Mm-hmm. I always say that coding boot camp brought out the dog in me that I never knew was there.
The dog in you. That's it.
And
that's the phrase.
Yo,
the
man.
Dog. Yeah.
Like it brought out this dog in me that I just never knew was there. So right now, if you tell me that you're like, yo, I'm giving you a year to learn how to fly, I'm flying.
It's done.
Like
it's done.
I'm learning how to fly.
Yeah.
I just want I want to actually I kind of pivoted from my original question because I feel like I want to.
All good.
Like you hit this thing where I feel like if people can understand this here, bro, they'll make it. How do you get that grit, right? How do you get that if factor? There's somebody probably watching is like, yo, man, like I'm not motivated, or like, like how do you get that for me, like I said, it was boot camp. Yeah. It was I have 2 kids that were on the way. Yeah. I have to bust my tail. If not, we're gonna be in the street. It was like, yo, you haven't been making a good income. At one point, man, we made $17,000 within a year.
I bet.
$17,000 within a year, man.
That and sounds I'm like
we're on food stamps.
Yep.
Like my wife is looking at me like, I love you, babe, but what's good?
Yeah.
But what, I'm gonna be here with you. I love you, but like what's good? And I'm looking at myself.
Yeah.
But you know, like our basic needs was like, yo. So for me, it was like boot camp. Cool, I'm in here, and it was like, man, I cried in boot camp. I've smacked walls, and doing all that was like, it just brought out this dog in me. I was like, nah, you know what? Like I'm gonna win. Like I'm gonna die trying to win. I'm gonna get there, you know. And it pushed me so close to the edge, man. And it was like, no, I'm gonna keep on going till I get it, right? And that's what brought out that dog in me, right? But for you, man, like, what was it that like? Because you were for 17 years, you were at a restaurant, right? Yep. Some people never leave.
That's true.
17 years, that's your life.
True. That's true, and I know that's true because one thing that has never come back the way it was good service in what I would call family style dining in the United States, because all of those career servers that were adults, when COVID happened and all the restaurants closed for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, they all went into other careers and they never came back. And the people that came back to work in like the Chili's and places like that, they weren't career servers anymore. You don't have those anymore. And I don't know that they're ever coming back. And so you're right. Some people get into the restaurant business and stay forever, which might not be the best for them, but it was great for customers because you could actually get decent service. That has not come back since COVID. So I wanted to point that out because I know a little bit about the restaurant business. But to your other point, that is so much, my brother, so much. I'm just going to take my time on this so I can get it all out. It's so much about identity. So first things first, I do not have any tips for how to get the dog in you about something you're not interested in. So if you were to ask me how to get motivated to eat a coconut cake, I would just sit here and look at you like, I don't got no tips for that. I hate coconut. I hate the worst thing you can do to a chocolate cake is add coconut and call it German chocolate. I will not like you anymore. I don't like coconut. If you can hide it and I don't really taste it, all right, I'm not going to have any, I'm not going to bring out in hives. But if I can taste that coconut and feel that texture, I'm out. So I have zero desire and zero information to tell you about how to get motivated to eat anything coconut because I don't like that. And I don't advocate people to go for things that they do not like, whether it's a career or not. I'm old enough to be the unk and tell you life is too short to do things you hate for money. You do what you have to do until you can get to do what you want to do. But you need to have a goal of what you want to do, and you need to know what that is. I am not an advocate of everybody should get into tech. Everybody should be a programmer. Everybody should be a cloud engineer. Everybody should be a DevRel. I've never said that, nor will I, because this life is not enjoyable for lots of people. If you don't like problem solving, you won't like being a programmer because that's all they're paid to do. They're not paid to eat the free snacks or bring their dog to work or go to a retreat in a foreign country. They're not paid for that. That's to keep them there. They're paid to just solve problems all day and talk to people. So if you don't like problem solving, I don't have any tips on how to get the dog in you to become a programmer, and you're not going to like the job anyway. I have zero tips. So tip one is, what gets your juices going? If it's in that tech box, all right, there's 100 roles. Chat GPT all of them and find the one that just seems interesting enough to pursue further. Then you watch some videos about it. Read some blogs about it. See if you can find some people with that title on LinkedIn and just follow their life. See which ones post a little bit. What do they talk about? Watch day in the life videos that go beyond free snacks and bring your dog to work. Right? What do you actually do? Read the U.S. Labor and Jobs Report. See, is it going to be on the incline, on the decline? Get some information about the role so you can see, will I at least not hate this for the next 2 to 4 years, 2 to 5 years. Now, once you've identified that thing, get the dog. So identity for me means going back to childhood, which I talked about a little bit. I have to reference my parents. Shout out to my parents, best parents in the world. They've always told me, A, get something in your head because can't nobody take that away from you. That's number one. Next, anything anyone else has done that involves their mentality, you can do as well because you have a strong brain. Now, body, yeah, they were straight up with me. But with your brain, anything anyone else on this planet has done that involves mental acuity, you can do it as well. You have a strong brain. And so I had that as part of my identity that I still have. I still have that. And programming and technical jobs and technical careers are all about mental acuity and the ability to synchronize business needs into design requirements, into code, and figure out, is this satisfying what the customer actually wants in the way we're going to have some transactions, make some money. Like putting all those pieces together, that's mental acuity. I can do that. And I can also figure out what niches of communication are missing so I can actually help advocate for the company to the community and advocate for the community back to the company as I do now with Be Free, the company where I work in. That's what a DevRel is. It's two sides of the same coin. And so I have that in me from my personal identity. And I had it even in my restaurant days and used it there, but that wasn't my home. That wasn't what I was designed to do at all. I was doing what I had to do to keep the lights on and food in my mouth and, clothes on our back. Because I have a family too, wife and 3 kids, right? We like vacations. We like eating decently and living in a place that feels safe. So I did what I had to do. And the dog was in me even in my restaurant days. And I had a good example of just good hard work too. But my identity has everything to do with it. So the question becomes, what if a person is, let's say 30, 35, 40 years old? They're watching this. They're thinking about tech. They heard my whole spiel about how to research what job you wanted to, but they still haven't understood about how do I get myself really pumped up for that thing. You can do something long enough that your body begins to believe it. And so you just start and you form the habit. Anything you do long enough, you will train your body that this is what's normal. If you're not a workout person, you just start lifting weights and you lift weights 3 times a week consistently for 90 days. Before the 90 days is up, your body will believe you're just a workout person. You're one of those gym people, gym bro, gym gal, whatever. You're one of them. And it will expect it. And if you break that cycle, you will feel it etherically. You will feel that. The same thing works in a work environment. If that's just not naturally you, all that passion, all that that I was given earlier in regards to tech, You don't have to have it, but how high do you want to ascend? Right? There's levels to this thing. I still feel like if I'm looking at my box. I know people can't see my box, but if you look at the square that I'm in right now, I look like myself like still not even at 50%. There's many, many, many levels to this thing. How high do you want to ascend? How much money do you need? Even better, I love doing this one. I do this one with my mentees all the time. How much money per year do you truly think you deserve? Now, whenever somebody says 50, 100 trillion dollars, what I know is they're escaping something because nobody makes that. And so they said something ridiculous so they didn't have to own up to the fact they've never dealt with their true value and their true worth and what they feel like they're worth. You will not make more than you think you're worth consistently. You will not keep more than you think you're worth consistently. The reason so many rich people that win lotteries and maybe go into sports and things, or athletes or entertainers go broke so often is not only mismanagement, but they never felt worth it in the first place. They left the hood or the country or the rule, but their mindset is still, that's what I am and that's all I really deserve. And so they self-correct through bad behaviors that spirals them back to where they came from because that's more comfortable. So identity is everything. You want to be that dog. You want to be that person who's going for it, whatever the role is, whatever the passion is, whatever the goal is. I'm watching this thing on TikTok now, the Great Lock-In, which I'm kind of excited about. A lot of you young people are talking about the Great Lock-In of 2025 for September and October, November, December, and they're really doing it. They're going in on fitness and getting the bag and real estate and upskilling. I'm like, that's great. That's great because I know if they can just get past that few weeks mark of doing it consistently, something kicks in and the body says, oh, this is who we are. This is what we do. We work out, we save money, we research, we read. Some of you who have never read before, you claim that you hate reading. The only reason you hate reading still is because you keep saying you hate reading, you won't start. If you would take that initial push and just read. This is a classic programming book right here. Classic. The chapters, you might look at this and be like, I can never get through all that. Some of you would. But if you would say that, if you would actually look at the chapters in this book, and you can see my bookmark right here, they are literally 4-ish pages each. If you were just to start reading a chapter a day, you say, I'm just going to read a chapter a day. I'm not going to read a book. I'm just going to read a chapter a day. By the time you finish this book, you're a reader. You'll be hooked. Even if it wasn't interesting, you'll be hooked because you've done it consistently enough to train your body that this is what we do. The body will adapt to change. It will also adapt to non-change. So the process of becoming a dog is just start being a dog. Just be doggish about something, right? I was doggish about making a garden. I don't know crap about gardening. Nothing.
You're killing it. You're killing it.
Brother, I've never done this before. I have a faint memory in the back of my head being a little kid and being given a hoe and having to dig a row. And also, mom would have like trees and she would give me the shovel. And I would like dig the biggest hole. Like I was just so macho, dig a big hole and plant the tree. That's it. I know nothing about gardening, but I started it and I was like, I'm not going to be out here and not eat anything. We're going to eat something. And I was reading and I've been watching videos and I've been on Gemini and I made me a spreadsheet. And there was like a little app. Like I think when Bolt or Lovable, one of those released, the first thing I did was make a garden app because I want to track everything and I'm going in. The same characteristics that are helping me to grow watermelon and cucumbers and green beans and hot peppers and okra. Ooh, I got okra out the yam. The same dogged nature that is keeping me out there, pursuing it, doing what I have to do to make it work is the same thing that works in tech and all of life. And you just have to start. Even if you don't feel like that's who you are, I'm telling you, you can change yourself into anyone you want to be. The problem is people get identifications that put them in a box and keep them there for life. Many servers, I talked about the server thing, many servers who left the restaurant business were fascinated to learn they could do other things just in the last 4 to 5 years since COVID because they've never even tried. I'm a restaurant person. I wait tables. I've been doing it all my life. And then restaurants closed for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and they had to do something else. And some found out, I have other talents. I have other things I can do I've never even explored. And that should be a lesson to all of us that sometimes you just need to try it. Even if you don't think, I want to get into tech, but I want to be a programmer. I heard that all the time. And I ask them why. That seems like it's too hard. Like, how do you know? What have you tried? And how consistently did you give yourself a chance? Did you give yourself at least as many times as Thomas Edison? Look up his story. At least as many times as Colonel Sanders of KFC? Look up his story. The most successes you hear about when people are people who are riddled with failure first, but they just kept trying. They started and they kept trying. The failure is stopping or not starting, and you have more in you. And so to wrap up this question, because I know you want other questions, there's no secret to becoming the dog in any area of life. You find out what you want to be dogged about, make sure it aligns, hopefully find some clues that others who have done that, and you can follow them because success leaves clues. And then just begin. Begin in the way that you want to see yourself in the future. Imagine if you could just close your eyes. There's somebody watching this right now that's thinking, I want to get into tech, but I don't know. It sounds all nice. I mean, he's cool, but I don't know. Imagine this. Close your eyes. Imagine you meet a person, and that person is you from 5 years in the future, 2030. What do you want to be able to tell them? And what do you want them to tell you they're proud of about you? Let me say that again. For anybody thinking about getting into tech right now, I don't care what the role is, and you're a little, I don't know. AI, outsourcing, blah, 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 whatever. It can all be taken over by AI tomorrow. There will still be people in tech. Plenty of them, all right? So scratch all that. If that's you, I want you to think about two things. Meeting yourself in the future, 5 years from now, what do you want to be able to tell them? And what do you want them, which is you, to be telling you that they're proud of? I'm proud in 2025, you just what? Whatever that is, go do it. Because that's personal to you. That's not me, some random talking head guru giving you advice. You need to do this, do this. What do you want to be proud of for yourself? Go do that thing. Just get off, turn off the podcast. You'll come back to it later. Go do it now. Strike while the iron is hot. While you're thinking of it, while it's on your brain, go do it now. Because 5 years from now it's coming. If it's not coming, we're all in heaven or somewhere else. It won't matter. But if it does come, it's coming. And you're going to have to face that future regardless. The future's coming regardless. What do you want it to look like? How proud will you be 5 years from now if you took today? I don't care if you've been delaying it for 10 years. If you said, today is the day I'm going to start. I'm going to read one chapter of a book. I'm going to do 10 push-ups today. I'm going to cook a healthy meal today. I'm going to call 3 relatives and tell them I love them today. I'm going to say my first prayer in decades today. You can start today. It doesn't matter with the past. The past does not equal the future. Those are not equivalencies. The past has given us lessons for the future, but it does not equate to the future. You can take everything from the past. If your past is the worst past of all time, you can take that as a motivation to drive you to a new future. You don't have to keep repeating it. 2 sons are born of an alcoholic father. One becomes an alcoholic because he thinks that's normal. The other one never touches alcohol because he sees the issue that it caused in the family and the breaks that it caused and the way it harmed the kids and harmed the mother. And so you can take the past any way you want to. I suggest you take it as motivation to change the future. And there's no reason, whenever you're watching this, there's no reason to wait a day beyond today. There's no reason, none. Well, you don't know my situation. You're right. But I do know whatever you're thinking about, you can take a small step today. And if you can't take the whole step, break it down to the minuscule. Maybe you can't get $1 million tomorrow, but can you read 2 paragraphs about Warren Buffett style investing? Slow and low, I call it, like ribs, like cooking ribs. Slow and low investing. Graham, can you read 2 paragraphs about that? It'll serve you a long way. You can read about Bitcoin if you want to, W3 and this, that, and the third, but can you just learn some good old-fashioned slow and low investing? That will not fail you, ever. All right, that's enough. I'm going to run out of podcast time with 2 questions. So you can't get old people on the podcast. We talk too much.
No, listen. The older I've gotten, I've come to realize that, like, there's wisdom in age, man. Honestly speaking, you have given way much more than just tech. Like, if y'all could just apply like what Lawrence have just said in anything, like there's no way you won't be successful. Like, literally no way, man. And like, you're literally like, and I knew this. I knew coming to this podcast that I'm I'm gonna shut up and just have you talk, like literally, because
Scary.
this no, because you guys think that yes, the podcast is for y'all, but this is I'm being edified by you, man. Like literally,
God bless.
like even with my podcast, I never thought I'll ever start a podcast. I just never knew it. I was like, podcast, everybody's doing it.
Right.
It was like 2000 and maybe 23, where something in my head, which I'm a Christian, so I know the Holy Spirit was like, "Yo, you're gonna start a podcast one day." And I was like, "I don't know what it's gonna be about." 2 years later, I started a podcast, and then he reminds me, he's like, "Hey, you remember I told you supposed to start a podcast like 2 years ago?" I was like, "Oh shoot!"
Here it
Like,
is.
wait, what?
Right.
And to
right.
me, man, it's like when I started, I was like, "Man, how am I gonna do this thing?" And to your point, it was like, "Yo, I'm gonna just do one episode at a time." Fast forward, we're on season 2. Like we're basically done with season 2, and I'm like,
Oh, you're on season
and
2
I'm like,
already. Wow.
we're basically done with season 2.
That's wild.
And I'm like, man, like I'm planning for season 3, and I'm like, man, like how
Proud
do we
of you,
get
bro.
here?
That's awesome.
Thank you. Like how do we get here? And to your point, man, it's like that dog was there, one from boot camp, right? And like you and I and people who have made it in tech, man, we are definitions of if you show some kind of interest in here, if you're winning in this, you can win in other things too, man.
Yep.
Like I've seen you, like you were a dog when it came to the food industry. You translated that into tech.
Yep.
You're translating that into like your garden, and like you find yourself winning in different things, right? Mm-hmm. And I want to ask you this question, man. Like, how have you inspired your wife and your kids? Because I can only imagine that they're looking at you like, yo, that's my daddy. Like, yo, that's my husband. That's the leader of our house. Like, how have you, like, your mindset, the dog in you, how has that like motivated your family, man?
Yeah, they don't care nothing about this. What are you talking about, man? They don't care nothing about this. Babe, can you take out the trash? Babe, there's a bug. Kill the bug.
Oh, so you just daddy.
Okay, Dad. Okay. You don't have to say that so many times, Dad. I'm over here trying to give life. I'm over here giving life advice to adults around the world who follow my counsel. I can't tell my daughter 2 sentences. Okay, Dad. Okay, Dad. But I'll tell you what, I had a funny moment. I had a funny moment even in saying that, because I went to, I did something special that was really, really fun. So I love the conference Render ATL. I will always big up Render ATL.
Yeah.
And last year was not this year, but last year was year 3 for me, because I went one time on a scholarship. Second time I spoke with Anthony Mays on stage on a panel. And third year I was an ambassador. And so my ticket was paid for, so I was like, hey, I'll take care of my wife's ticket. I'm going to bring my wife to a tech conference because she's seeing me going to all these tech conferences, and I'm flying over, and she just gets to stay at home. So we worked it out, found someone to keep my youngest daughter. My other 2 kids are grown and gone, and she's going to a tech conference. And I mean, we hadn't landed good. We're in baggage claim. Lawrence, hey, Lawrence, take a selfie. Then another person, Lawrence. It was I'm talking about in the airport, Jason Torres from Torque, and Jawan the Techie, who also does podcasts like that.
Shout out
they
Jawan,
ran into me from like far away. Yo, Lawrence. And it never stopped. And I'm telling you, every day, everywhere we went, people were just, Lawrence, take a selfie. Hey, you want to do lunch? And so by the 3rd day, she was like, okay, you really are that guy. I'm like, I've been trying to tell you. We had to go all the way to Atlanta.
Goodness.
All the way to Atlanta.
For her to realize you that dude, huh?
Okay, you really are that guy. The people were just showing me a lot of love. It wasn't anything weird. They were showing a lot of love, a lot of respect. Most were saying, thank you for teaching me this, for mentoring, for being an example, So it was all cool. But yeah, we had to leave town.
We had to realize.
Without honor, except in his own home. So anyway, yes.
Listen.
She saw up and close in person. And then my sister got to do the same this year. So I had a free ticket. So I gave my sister one of the free tickets. And she came and she got to do the same on, I think it was on Friday of this year's conference. And we had the exact same experience. Like I'm just getting bombarded, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like, okay, thank you for the love. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it, man. Hey, what is the hardest thing about your tech journey, man? What is like the hardest thing you've had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
Oh man, so many. I don't know if I can rank a hardest for sure, but oh man, that's oof. Is there a hardest? Man, let me say some of the hard ones. So one of the first hard one was this feeling like I'm just gonna be fired at any minute. Like in that first job, particularly in the second job though. Not so much the first job. The first job, like I said, I was the only dev in a marketing department, but the second job, I was a dev amongst a whole team of devs.
Yeah.
And most of them have computer science degrees, and I don't. And most of them had deep, deep programming backgrounds, and I didn't. And so I was really an oddball. And I was the first black programmer on our team, and only one of about three in our whole org. So just a feeling like I'm going to just get fired on general principle because I don't look like the picture of what they got. I had to get over that. Identity. Your identity affects performance. I started believing that crap. Next thing I know, my code's like not passing muster, and the reviews are kind of harsh, and like I was going through it for a minute at FedEx. And I had great mentorship. James was there, another guy named Paul was there. Great mentorship. But I had gotten in my head like, man, you don't belong here. This ain't you. I knew what I did to earn it, but I didn't look like what I saw. And so it took a while to get over that, some of which was reminding myself, I'm here because I don't look like what I see. I'm
Yeah.
here to change that whole narrative and be an example for the next person. But that was tough. That was a big, tough
Yeah.
thing. Another one is, oh gosh, how do I put this in plain words? Really trying to balance, and it's not work-life balance, but trying to balance the focus that I attend to my personal progression, which is obviously important to me, versus my passion for community and my deep, deep passion for the African American community and Black community in general and our presence in tech. Those are two different ideas. They sync in a lot of places, but they differ in a lot of places. And we all have the same 24 hours. Like nobody gets like extra time. So, and more than in a single day, even across like say 90 days, like how am I going to expend my time and where I want to invest resources and programming? Kind of, I guess I'll say balancing between that. Sometimes can be challenging. And I feel like each time I decide one way or the other, or like 60-40, like it always feels like the wrong. That's the challenge. I always feel like I'm not balancing quite right. Even though I
Yeah.
know I'm
Yeah.
going to the wall at all times, just feel like, oh, I should have done this, should have done one more meetup, should have accepted this talk. So that's a funny
Yeah.
balancing act. And it never ends. Like I have,
Yeah.
if I can show you my personal computer over there, I have two browsers open for opportunities of things to get involved in. It's like, do I join it or do I not? What will be the impact? What will have to give? Because I'm not trying to have my career stagnate. Like, I'm at a tender age. You mentioned the age earlier. So I have to be super, super conscious about everything that I do, that my value is not just, meets expectations. It's got to be exceeds. Because generally in tech, like this is the point where people are like making quick exits. Like they're done. There's people who try to fire, right? Financially free and get out way before my age. Like get out. And I'm just basically getting in. So I have to be really, really intentional about how I show up. And, if this were to wrap up, that I have a brand that can support me continuing, just like I got laid off in January, right? That came out of nowhere when I was with Biden. I wasn't expecting that. I literally had a trip planned to go to Finland. We had to cancel the plane and everything because layoffs, tech layoffs. But I had a solid brand that had me hired here within like 90 days, 89 days.
I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you this question. You kind of jumped on it. It's probably like our last segment here, and I'll let you go. Yo, when I saw that you got laid off, man, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Like,
You.
no, literally, I saw. I think you had posted on Twitter, and it was
I
like
was really
it
public
felt like
about it,
I got
yeah.
laid. It felt like I got laid off, And I was like, Lawrence, like how, like if anybody gets laid off, it can't be you, because you're the dude giving out the gems. You're the
Yeah.
so it's like, and I remember reaching out to you, and I prayed for you and everything, man. But like, I do want
Thank
to
you.
like. Of course, I do want to dissect that for a little bit and kind of just really just you be vulnerable, because I know that there's a lot of layoffs that's going on right now. A lot of layoffs, man. And like, how did you navigate that, man? Like, I know the story because you shared it, but for people who might not know, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you had a following, your network, and it's crazy how you were very disciplined not to do certain things that anybody would have done because you had the leverage, but you're like, nah, right? But I want you to tell that story, man, and give us let us enter your mindset, like how you felt, man. How was it at home? How was you
Sure.
you as a man? You've dealt with depression before. You dealt with
Yep.
feeling as if you're not needed, or you don't belong in the space, and now you do all this stuff and it's like boom, crumble down.
Yeah.
How was that, bro?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that helped me was a very strange thing. I name dropped James Quick earlier, which I hope everybody goes
Yeah.
and follows because he's one of my mentors from back in the day. We were actually working at FedEx together, and then he went back into DevRel. I think he went to Auth Zero and a few other places. But long story short, it was either the same year or the year before I started as a DevRel. I think it was the same year. I think it was that same year. He got laid off. And I said, what? This is my boot camp teacher. This was my senior engineer at FedEx. This is a guy with a huge YouTube channel and following. He's a teacher. He's worked at Microsoft. He's worked at these big tech companies. He's worked at startups. How did James get laid off? Like, why would you let him? Okay, so you have layoffs. You have some number. You have some number you have to achieve. But why would he get laid off? And so I determined at that point, if James can get laid off, anybody can get it. It's not even a talent thing. There's just like a number, and it's a really cold and hard accounting like decision. All right, employees 300 through 330 are laid off. Chunk. I don't even think they even process the information. And I had to really think about that. Like anybody can get it. So when I got my layoff, it hurt, cried like a baby at 52 years old, totally hurt. Had to tell my wife, worst thing in the world, worst thing in the world. Hey, there's no more income coming in from the guy who's the primary provider, right? That sucked. That sucked real bad. But the solace, if you will, within a couple of days, because I took a whole week just to process. I didn't apply for jobs, just kind of a week to process. Was like, James got laid off too. And I hate to say it like that. I'm not happy he got laid off, but for him to have that level of ascendancy in the tech game and that level of talent, I mean, he can code circles around me with a left hand behind his back and his baby in his right hand. Like he's that guy. And he got laid off. I'm like, oh, anybody can get it. So I can't take this personal, like there's something wrong with me. If my man got laid off and they're telling me it is truly a layoff, it's not just you're not just fired. Like we have these people, this list that's getting laid off. Um, that was a certain level of solace that we're in an industry where anybody can get it. And that still exists today. That didn't end in January. That still exists today. If a company up in the size are going to be layoffs, anybody can get it. And so, much like I used to describe Jesus, and people argue, I don't know about you. I was like, hey, I'd rather have him and not need him than need him and not have him. In a similar way, the way that I've curated my brand and reputation is one that I really wanted to rely on because I teach about brand management and I teach about reputation all the time on Twitter Spaces and other places where I show up. And so I said to myself, and this was a risk, but it was a test. I want to see how good a job I've done with how good of a job I've done with my own personal brand. My theory is, and I'm willing to test it, I've done enough with my brand management that I don't even need my network to get another job. I had a powerful network and have a powerful network, meaning people who are senior engineers, staff engineers, managers, recruiters, first person connections on LinkedIn, friends, we DM on Twitter. I know them. They know me. People who came out and said when I announced, and I was really public, like you said, I was really public about the layoff because I wanted people to see not only the glitzy side, like, oh, he flew here and there, like that's just so minor. Like, yes, I got laid off. This is bad. And here's what I'm doing. So I was really, really public about my whole layoff process and how I organized my day. And I talked about that on another podcast. But to answer your question, I was testing the idea that I could get another job on the power of my brand, meaning there is enough assets out there about me in the world that if you just Google my name, you want to hire me. Whew.
That's powerful.
So my tweets, writing a blog post, doing a podcast, showing up in a certain way consistently, that's not random. I'm doing this because you asked me. But in my head, I'm trying to get the message to people, when you do something, there can be multiple objectives achieved. So we're going to do this because we're friends and I like you and I want to be on your podcast. Like I finally made it on Annor's podcast. I'm glad you actually likes me. But at the same time, I'm going to show up and deliver value in a certain way because this is another asset in my digital footprint. And months from now, after you release this, if someone Googles my name, just Googles my name, there is an entire list of who I am. And so if you were to pull my resume, like my employer did, and you're like, he looks interesting. What can we find out about him? You can literally Google me and know that the resume is true because you see evidence of almost everything on there in some digital asset in some form, some podcast, some Twitter space, some tweet, some LinkedIn post, some something. There is a brand out there about me. And if you do call a reference, or if you were just to reach out to somebody or know some people in the tech community, especially the DevRel community, because it's really small, they generally have positive things about to say about me as well, because I show up the same way on paper as I do in these things as I do if we were to go to a restaurant and break bread. And so my test was, I'm going to see, is my brand powerful enough to get hired again? And I'm giving myself a 90-day limit, because this can't go on forever. Like, we have savings or whatever, but I'm not trying to dig into the bottom. Like, you know what? Like, like with gas, like everybody has a different barometer of like where they're comfortable. I don't like getting past like a quarter, because I've run out of gas. I've had to push a car before. That's not fun in a Mississippi heat. I don't like getting below a quarter. So I had a certain, like, I don't want to get below a certain point. So I'm going to give it 90 days. And if I'm not hired in 90 days, or at least like further along in the interview process, I'll go to my network. I'll start calling people. I'll go for that. But I don't want to tap that yet. Not hardcore. And long story short, 89 days from the time I started the process, which was a week after I was terminated, I was hired at my new job. No, actually, I started at my new job. So I made it with a day to spare. And that's how I processed all that. I took it as an experiment. Now, again, position of privilege, having money in the bank, having a wife work, she's bringing in income, having the brand that I've established. So lots of points of privilege, but some of those are by design, right? Some of those the brand aspect is by design. The way that we save and manage money is by design. Just because I had a decent job doesn't mean we're going to save money. Saving money is a choice. Tithing is a choice. These are choices. And when it comes time to need to reap the benefits of those choices, your choices will show you what benefits you have in the future. So you make choices now that might be a little challenging. I didn't want to put 500 away. I don't want to put 1,000 away. Knowing that there will be a future time when you might need to pull from those choices. Those are deposits, even beyond financial. You have to pull from deposits later, right? That's same thing works in relationship. You make deposits into your spouse daily because you love them. And also there's going to come time when there's some tough times. And that's when you draw from those deposits you've poured into them. And so you don't hit rock bottom in your relationship account because you've been pouring into them all along intentionally. You think about that and you do it on purpose, because there will be highs and lows in every relationship, in every job, and every career. And so the way to avoid getting too low is to make deposits. And so I made deposits into my brand that I was able to pull from. I made deposits into my physical financial account that we lived on. And that's how we got through.
Yo, I have so many questions to ask you, but I really want to respect your time, man. I want to ask you this question, man. Are you proud of yourself, man? You've come so far. You're killing the game. Like you're helping so many people. Like you, Lawrence, when you sit back and it's just you, man. Like, what do you think of yourself? And are you like literally like, are you proud of yourself?
I am very proud of the fact that I got saved and I got baptized. I'm very proud of the fact that I was raised in church. And even though I strayed from it for a long time, I got back to it after marrying my wife, after courting my wife, because she was a regular churchgoer. And she got me back, and she got me to tithing, and we got married in a church and live a Jesus-centered life. I'm very proud of that, because even now, as with every person on earth, I have ups and downs. And the down moments are sustained by the grace of Christ that is so much stronger and more sustainable than anything I can do. All of my efforts feel like minuscule. Like it's nothing. It's nothing. Left to myself, I would probably be dead a long time ago. The car accidents I had one car accident when I was sleepy driving in the rain. And when I tell you, when I woke up from dozing at the wheel, I had mowed down, and it was in the process of mowing down multiple pine trees in the median of a busy, wet highway down in just south of Hasbrouck, Mississippi. Mowed down. I was in a tiny car, a Suzuki Swift, which is basically like a Yugo, a Suzuki Swift, old model. It's like made of plastic. and I mowed down multiple pine trees in the middle of the median. Car was totaled. Annor, the car was totaled. The claims adjuster guy, when they came out, they had to go to the pound, right? They spent like 5 minutes. They're like, oh, this is totaled. There's nothing to see. When my mother saw the car, saw how the window on the driver's side was all jagged and the door was crunched in and would not open, and the window was all jagged on the passenger side because it both windows had crashed in. She looked at me and said, "How are you alive?" I had no scratch. I had a tiny chip on one tooth, which is gone now because I have dentures, but that's neither here nor there. I walked out without a scratch. That's not me. I was sustained beyond my bad choices for a purpose. So the biggest thing that I'm proud of out of all of my work is that I represent Christ and he claims me and he keeps me, because left on my own, I screw it up every time. Badly, to potentially deathly consequences. So that I'm very proud of and I'm happy to share. And if a person sees me in a Christian light one day and thinks something else another day, they're probably right. But I still know Christ sustains me because it's not me. I do things that my physical body can do, but that has extreme limits. I've been blessed in ways that go far beyond my capabilities, far, far beyond. And I've had to have seen that repeatedly to really know this is real. Like, Jesus is real in my life. This is not like a joke. It's not like, I don't know, something theoretical. Like, it's real, real. And I fear going like some other path at this point. Because what will I lose? I stand to lose a lot. And so if I imagine myself, when I'm by myself, which is the picture you gave me, I just imagine that like grace and mercy right behind me and everything that I do. And when I make a good decision, they push me forward. When I make a bad decision, they let me to feel some of it, but then they pull me back.
Crazy.
Just, yeah, you don't belong over there. You're not supposed to be dead yet. Get back over here. All right, you fell out of college. Let's get you employed. Let's get you employed and keep you with some money because you're not supposed to be broke. And you're gonna still enjoy vacations. You're gonna still get married. You're gonna still have kids, but we still have something else for you. And so that's how I picture myself when I'm by myself, that I'm supported by that which is much, much greater than me. And the best effort I can do pales in comparison to what he already has done. And so, as my man Anthony Mays says, I'm blessed to serve. And if my life serves to inspire somebody, give somebody a little bit of oomph, praise the Lord. I'm blessed to serve. Do I always get it right? Am I just so good, churchy, goody two shoes? Bro, I'm jacked up. That's how I know he's real. I have issues, issues. But he keeps me because I claim him. And I claim him publicly. And so he keeps me. Like, all right, I got you. I got you. That's what I'm most proud of, above and beyond anything else I've ever done or shall do or plan to do. I claim Christ and he claims me.
This is not a Christian podcast, even though I am a Christian. But man, what you said really hit so like really deeply, man, even to like my circumstance now, because I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where I inspire a lot of people, man. You know, even off tech, like just in life, I'm a mentor to a lot of people, man. And I know I'm not perfect. I know that I'm also jacked up, man. And what you said about the accident and the deaths or anything, man, a lot of people don't know. And I'll share this on here just because it's my podcast. Why not? Let's do it. You know,
there you go.
I battle with a lot of negative thoughts a lot, right? I battle with suicidal thoughts. And man, like when I'll be honest and say that last week, suicidal thoughts was crazy in my mind, man. Crazy in my mind, yo. And you have hearing your story, hearing you say that, wow, you were in a total car, man, but there was no broken bone, nothing, man. It motivates me to be like, yo, keep on going, man. Because I posted something on my birthday that was like, man, like it's people like us that you see smiling all the time. People like us that you see always giving advice. People like us that you see motivating other people, that we
Yep.
go through the biggest battles, man. The
Yes.
biggest battles,
By
man.
design.
The biggest battles. And
Mhm.
if it's not for God that literally walks us through, that literally like allows us to feel some of the pain that we cause ourselves, that says, like he said, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, you felt some pain, come back, let's go. This is the right path, man. We won't make it.
That's it.
And so
That's it.
I wanna end this by saying that, like, yo, if you don't know Christ, you should probably get to know him, because all the stuff that you see, the dog in you, like none of that would be made possible. Like if Christ don't say, hey, Lawrence, hey, Annor, wake up this morning.
Yeah.
If he says, yo, you're going to bed tomorrow, and that's going to be your last breath, forget about the dog in you, because it's done.
That's
You know what
rap.
I mean, it's rap.
Nothing else
It's rap.
matters.
Nothing matters,
Yeah.
man. And so if you don't know Christ, get to know Christ. I think a lot of times human beings sometimes can be bad representation of Christ, but actually get to know him for yourself. And I think he's a dope person. Literally. You know what I mean?
Bet.
Um,
Bet.
Dude, where can people find you, man? All that, and I'll let you go, man.
Lawrence Decodes on most platforms, Twitter, TikTok. My TikTok is really random, but yeah, Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky. No, not Blue Sky anymore. They banned Blue Sky in Mississippi, so not Blue Sky. But Twitter, TikTok. We do LinkedIn for professional communication. I'm not interested in any pitches or buying anything, which seems to be most of the DMs I get on LinkedIn. So let me just put that out there. But yeah, hook me up on Twitter. That's where I converse most often. I'm happy to talk to people. Don't just follow me. Please talk to me. I am a regular human, and I enjoy talking to people. Even being an introverted, shy person, I prefer to actually talk to you than just see you as a number and think, oh, I'm at X followers. That means nothing. It does nothing for me, actually. So talking to me does a lot.
Lawrence, hey, I appreciate you, man. This is Lawrence Lockhart, aka Lawrence D Codes, the GOAT himself. Appreciate you, brother.
Blessed to serve. Thank you for the time, man.
Yes, sir. Peace out, y'all.